Hello, everybody. This is Nick Totero, Professor of Information Technologies and Computer Science, Lakeland Community College. All right, let's finish up the series of videos concerning FTK Imager with what I'm just going to call FTK Imaging odds and ends. The little things that we can do with FTK Imager, it's not as robust as the autopsy program that we're going to discuss in other videos, but it allows you a lot of flexibility if you're doing some simple investigations, some simple forensics and things like that. So let's go up to my screen and let's take a look at some of the odds and ends. All right, I have a blank screen here. Again, don't worry about the version. That's the most recent version as of September 20th, 2023. And what I want to do is we've covered how to create an image, how to mount an image, how to use that mounted image as if it was just a regular drive. And I want to wrap up things with, again, just some odds and ends. So I'm not going to actually mount that image onto my file system, but I'm going to open it up as a piece of evidence inside FTK Imager. So I'm going to go up here and I'm just going to say add it. I'm going to say it's an image file. And I'm going to browse to the image file. You can see that I already have it open. And I'll open it up. And there is our FTK Imager. And there is our image file, the image file that I've used in previous videos. Immediately, you will notice some things kind of pop up. You have a file system here, so I can navigate around the file system. We have hex editing capabilities over here. Remember in some other videos, we talked about some of the hex editors and things like that. Well, we do have a hex editor built into FTK Imager. Let's start simple. Let's take a look at an individual folder and files within that folder. So I'm going to go to this folder here called private. I'm going to open up, and sure enough, here is my file structure. Now, you'll notice the icons here are representative of the extension. Remember in previous videos, you're talking in the classroom, or you may have known this, that the operating systems will look at extensions and determine what application to launch based upon the extension. So we have Microsoft Word extensions, we have image extensions, we have a PDF extension. You will also notice, and we'll touch base on this in a bit, some of them have X's through them. So the images actually have an X through them. That is an indication that that file has been deleted and it's not into the file system. I'm not going to mount the drive, but trust me, those files are not being displayed on the drive, but they're still on that image. Remember, when you delete a file, the file is still on that drive. It's just been removed from the file allocation table. So let's start with just looking at a given file. So I'll click it, and it shows me this is an undeleted file. It shows me what is there. Could I then export that individual file off to some other folder? Absolutely. I can say export, and what I'm going to do is I have a little folder I call it temp and delete, and this particular folder, it's a folder I've have on all my machines. It has nothing to do with forensics. Every so often I need to download, I need to look at a file, and then when I'm done with it, I delete it. So now if I go to the Explorer, you can see that the temp and delete is there. I can do the exact same thing with deleted files. So if I want to recover that deleted file, for example, we have this download JPEG here. I should pick another one. Here, we'll pick this one. It's a little bit different. That is a PNG file that I deleted. I can tell it's deleted because the little X going through the icon, but it's still available. And FTK Imager was able to bring up an image on this. Could I export that to that file, to that folder? Absolutely. All right. And if I go to it, we see that there it is. We can now recover that. It's been recovered, and now we can investigate that thing. So FTK Imager, we get the file system. We can look at files. We can recover deleted files. We will see hidden files. I don't have any hidden files here, but I can see hidden files. Could I get the hash values associated with those given files? Yeah. Again, that is, I just right click and I can say export the hash value. Now, let me move this so you can see it. All right. You'll notice that it will export that hash value because there's actually several hash values and some information associated with it. It will export it to a CSV file, a comma separated value file. So I'm going to say, all right, I'm just going to call this one file hash. It's going to be a .csv, so I'll leave it as CSV, and I'll say move that to, where are you? Temp and delete, we'll save it. Now, if I go to my temp and delete, there it is. You'll notice something very interesting, and this is very helpful, not just in forensics, but in a lot of computer science type things, that a .csv extension will be able to open up using Excel. You could open up as a text file because all it is text separated with commas. But if I open it up with Excel, take a little time here. If I open up with Excel, it's going to make it nicely formatted. It'll put it into columns and rows, and I'll kind of expand Excel. All right. So this one in particular uses MD5 as a hash and uses SHA-1 as a hash. It also shows us a file name. All right. So those were things that we can do with individual files. One last thing I can do with an individual file. I'm not going to save this. I'll go back to this. I can say, let's go to this file here. I know that file there is a Microsoft Word document based upon the icon. But remember from previous classes, previous demonstrations, we talked about the file signature, the magic number that is the first few bytes of any given file. And lo and behold, this one, I wish I could make it just a little bit bigger, but I can't. But the file signature number at the first few bytes of that file is 5040B, which is just a Microsoft Word or Microsoft Office product. Alrighty, that was individual files. What if I want to recover everything? Well, not recover everything, but I want to export everything, or I want to do it to several different files at the same time. Well, I can do that. One, I can do it on a folder by folder basis. I can do it by an individual file by file basis, but I can also do it by individual folder by basis. So what I can do is I can say, okay, private, let's export those files. And if I export it, and again, I wish it would just default there, I'll go to temp and delete. And okay, it successfully exported the folder to that temp and delete area, and there it is. All right, so I'm able to do individual folders. I can't really do individual hashes. I'm sorry, I really can't do individual hex things because you could only see one hex file at a time. But I can say, okay, can I export the hash list? And I'm going to say folder hashes. Spell it right. CSV. All right. And here, there's folder hashes. There's the hash files for all the given files in that particular folder. All right. Can I do it for the entire drive? Now, before I do it for the entire drive, let me get rid of all this stuff in the temp delete folder. Right. Could I recover it? Yeah, but I just choose not to. All right. Can I do it for everything? Of course. If I can do it for a folder, I can do it for the root because this is how things are structured inside the file system. So if I go up here and I say, okay, export the files, and I go to the temp and delete, give it a second. Now understand, if there's a lot of files, it's going to take a long time. I don't have a lot of files that I'm working with for brevity's sake. All right, so it copied over 40. It's going to copy that entire structure. Here we go. Here's the structure, so I'm ready to go. Could I do that with, can I get a hash value from everything? Absolutely. All right, I'll say save away. Oh, needed a file. I'll call it everything.csv. Obviously, I would name it something far more appropriate. It's running through all the hashes. Now, if you remember from one of my other videos, I talked about a professional development opportunity that I took, and the teacher wanted us to calculate 250 hash values, and I created a Python program that did that for me. Well, that was built into FTK Imager, but I chose to do it with Python, one, because I didn't know FTK Imager would do it. And two, I wanted to see if I can do it with Python. There's going to be times that, again, you're going to pull out that information from programming logic and Python that's going to be very beneficial to you. So let's go back to, yeah, I must have closed. Oh, there we go. Sorry. My machine is horribly slow today. So let me go to desktops. Let me go to temp and delete. And let me go to the everything CSV file. Open it up. Because .cfv can be opened up with Excel, it opens up. And there we have it. We have the MD5 hash. We have the SHA hash. And then we have the individual files and actually the locations of where they are into our given machine. All righty. Close this up. One little odd and end that I want to cover, and I will warn you, it's a little dangerous. It's a little flaky, and that is the memory dump, imaging a memory dump. It doesn't work on my machine. My machine is not that robust. My machine was not designed for that. So if I try to do a memory dump on my machine, I will get a blue screen and it will crash. I've tried many different ways. But what you would potentially do, say you have a suspect's computer and it is turned on, and you want to see what is inside memory. Well, in that case, what you would have to do is you would have to get an imaging technology, hardware, right? And connect the computer, the suspect's computer, to that imaging hardware. And one, you would image the hard drive, obviously. But two, you would image the memory that is currently inside that computer, what the last things, because what's inside memory? Memory is your work area inside the computer. So I can't do that with my machine. I can't image my memory because my machine needs the memory to do the imaging. It's kind of like that famous catch-22. I can't do it. I can't image memory because memory is being used. I would image memory on a computer that I have access to, but I would image that memory from a separate device. And the tool they often use for that is FTK Imager. I wish I can demonstrate it. I just don't have the hardware to do it. But what I can do is I can say capture memory. And I would run through all this. I'm being real careful to do this because I tell you, if I hit the wrong button right now, it won't ruin my machine, but it's going to reboot this machine. It's going to crash it. So I don't want to do it. But basically, I would give it the path of where that memory is. And very similar to imaging, depending on how much memory somebody has, that's how long it's going to take. It's going to take a long time. The other thing to be aware about when we deal with memory and memory dumps is that it's not like a file system. Right? File systems we can understand, we can find things, we can carve a file system very well, where I'm going to cancel this, it's just freaking me out. When you look at memory and memory dumps, it is an all hexadecimal, right? And you have to know what you're really looking for. It's not like you're going to be looking for files and folders and things like that. You're looking at true memory addresses. And when you're dealing with some of these computers that have terabytes of memory or something like that, or even gigabytes of memory, it's a long, arduous process. So I wish I can demonstrate it. I'm going to see if somebody out there has a memory dump that I could potentially look at, but right now I am not. I am not looking at a memory dump. I'm not going to try to image a memory dump because it'll just render my machine useless. All righty. So we've pretty much covered FTK Imager quite to extent. Now, there's a lot of little odds and ends, tiny ones, tweaks and stuff like that we can do, exporting reports and stuff like that we can do. But we're in pretty good shape, with the several videos that I've created about FTK Imager. It is a tool that is used quite extensively in the forensics world. So we're getting more tools in our toolbox. Let's go use them and let's go learn something.